White like death, the obsession begins. Imagine a candlelit chamber in a medieval castle. Heavy velvet curtains, brass mirrors, and a pale woman gazing at her reflection not with pride, but with desperation. In 14th century Europe, pale skin wasn't just beautiful, it was power. It meant you didn't labor under the sun like peasants. It meant nobility. It meant superiority. And women would stop at nothing to achieve it, including poisoning themselves. Yes, in the pursuit of ghostly white beauty, they smeared lead paste on their faces, bathed in mercury, and sipped arsenic-laced tonics. The deadly powder, Venetian ceruse, the crown jewel of medieval cosmetics. Venetian cerusa, thick, white makeup made of powdered lead and vinegar. This toxic foundation created a flawless, porcelain-like finish. It hid scars, smoothed skin, and symbolized elegance. Royal women like Elizabeth I of England used it daily. But the cost: peeling skin, chronic headaches, memory loss, organ failure, and yet they kept applying it layer after layer until the skin beneath their beauty quite literally died. A bath of mercury, want to be even whiter? Step into a tub of mercury-infused water. That's right, some noblewomen believed mercury could strip away imperfections, exfoliate the skin, and brighten the complexion. But mercury doesn't cleanse, it corrodes. It seeped through pores, entered the bloodstream, and wreaked havoc on the brain and kidneys. Over time, women went mad. Their hair fell out, their teeth crumbled, but their skin, still white, deathly white. Drinking rat poison for beauty makeup wasn't enough. These women wanted to glow from the inside out. So, they drank arsenic-ous, rat poison in diluted solutions. It gave their cheeks a pale pink flush, made the skin smoother, supposedly cured blemishes. But arsenic builds up. Liver damage, vomiting, hallucinations, skin that cracked open and bled. It didn't matter. Beauty was worth dying for. And the more pale they became, the more respected they were in the eyes of society, even as their bodies withered away. The curse of the Pale Queen. Historians whisper of one unnamed Duchess who, obsessed with whitening her face, she applied lead paste every hour, even in her sleep. At her funeral, mourners gasped. Her skin was ghost white and flaking off. Her death was ruled a mystery, but everyone knew the truth. She died from beauty. This wasn't vanity, it was survival. In a world where a woman's worth was judged by her skin, she had no choice, and she wasn't alone. Thousands of women followed the same fate, one toxic smear at a time. The mirror was the enemy every morning before the sun rose. Noblewomen lit candles and approached the mirror with trembling hands, not to admire themselves, but to check for cracks. Not on the mirror, on their faces. Lead paste had to be perfect. Any flake, any discoloration was a sign of weakness. A hint that the poison was eating deeper. Still, they powdered over it, smoothed over bleeding skin, covered up the sores. In those mirrors, they didn't see pain. They saw status, and they were willing to rot for it. Doctors who prescribed death, the horror wasn't hidden, it was endorsed. Medieval physicians recommended whitening tonics made with vinegar and lead acetate, claiming they balanced the body's humors. Apothecaries sold beauty elixirs that contained arsenic as a main ingredient. One popular recipe: boiled chalk, vinegar, and mercury. Apply as a nightly facial mask. And when women fell ill, the same doctors called it female hysteria or melancholy, never pointing to the very treatments they prescribed. This wasn't ignorance, it was profit. Whiteness was wealth. In royal courts, the paler the skin, the higher the rank. Queens were expected to look like walking marble statues. Anything less was scandalous. A natural tan was a disgrace. Sun-kissed skin belonged to farmers and fishwives. So, noblewomen stayed indoors for months. Curtains drawn, faces caked in powder. Some even had veins painted on with blue dye to enhance the illusion of transparency. They didn't want to look alive. They wanted to look like porcelain dolls, touchable, pure, divine. But porcelain cracks, and so did they. The price of a portrait. Look at the famous paintings from the Renaissance and late medieval period. Beautiful, ethereal women. Skin like alabaster, lips crimson, eyes soft. What you're really looking at is poison glamorized. The painters weren't exaggerating. These women really looked like that because they were dying to look like that. And behind the canvas, scars, tremors, nosebleeds, sterility, miscarriages, madness, beauty, frozen forever in oils and pigments. But behind every masterpiece was a grave. Weddings drenched in death. The most dangerous day for a noblewoman wasn't battle. It was her wedding day. Before the ceremony, she was prepared like a corpse, her skin scrubbed raw, her body coated in layers of white lead, mixed with crushed pearls and perfumed with powdered flowers. Some fainted before reaching the altar. Others collapsed after the first kiss. One infamous bride in France died the night of her wedding from lead poisoning absorbed through her chest and neck. The guests thought she had fallen asleep from joy, but her body was already cold. The mirror of death. Lady Eleanor's obsession. Lady Eleanor of Lancaster was once known as the Moonlight Beauty in King Edward's court. Her face, pale as snow, was the envy of every noblewoman. But what they didn't know was the price she paid. Each morning, Eleanor applied a mixture of white lead, vinegar, and powdered bone ash. Her servants gagged from the fumes. She didn't care. She whispered to her mirror, "I will be the whitest, even if it kills me." And it did. Her skin began to peel. Her gums bled. But she refused to stop until one day she collapsed during a royal banquet. Her lips blue, her veins blackened by lead poisoning. They buried her in a silver casket, still beautiful, still deadly. The secret formula of the Poisoners' Guild. In Venice, a shadowy society of noblewomen traded not only makeup tips but toxic recipes. They called themselves La Belle Mortale, the deadly beauties. Their favorite formula: lead carbonate for the base, ground pearl dust for luster, arsenic trioxide to erase skin blemishes, a drop of mercury for the glow. These women were admired as ethereal goddesses in the salons and masquerades, but behind closed doors, they vomited blood, miscarried children, and lost their hair in handfuls. Beauty had a body count. The death of Queen Isabella of Navarre. Queen Isabella was only 29 when she died, but her skin was still flawless. Her autopsy revealed something strange. Her lungs were blackened, her liver swollen, and traces of arsenic found in her bones. Doctors blamed a mysterious illness, but her ladies-in-waiting knew the truth. She bathed weekly in mercury baths. She believed it drew out the impurities. She drank a tincture of white arsenic daily to brighten the soul. In her final moments, she begged her confessor to burn her beauty supplies. They didn't. They passed them on to her niece. Powdered lies. The cosmetics market in Paris, in the bustling alleys near the Notre Dame, vendors hawked more than just spices and silks. There were shops with no names, only a sign. A white mask. Inside, shelves of powdered poison. The powders were sold in delicate jars with Latin inscriptions. Condoresti Hegnum, paleness is power. Women of all ranks bought them, duchesses, mistresses, even nuns in secret. The sellers never told the ingredients, but one whispered, "If it stings, it's working. If it burns, you're beautiful. And if you died, well, you died looking divine." The doctor who knew too much, Dr. Johannes Ehrlich, was a physician in Vienna known for his radical idea that beauty products were killing noblewomen. He wrote a treatise titled Whitened to Death, documenting 17 cases of women poisoned by their cosmetics. He begged the court to ban white lead and mercury. The result, his clinic was burned down, his license revoked, his name erased from the university. The Duchess of Württemberg called him a madman. She died 2 weeks later, skin flawless, heart ruptured. The book was never published. Only fragments remain in the archives of Prague.